All right, welcome to the latest LC Tech Hangout. My name is Josh Allen, Tech Integration Specialist for Lewis Central Community Schools. If you are watching this live, thanks for joining us. If you're watching this later, feel free to email me with questions that you have. We are going to go ahead and get started. And get that pulled up. So if you have a question during the event, there is a Q&A feature on the Google Hangout page if you are watching from there. Anytime you can tweet using the LC Tech Hangout hashtag, or you could just mention me on the very beginning. And at the bottom of the front of my thing, it had at @J_Allen as my Twitter account. You're welcome to do it there. You can also post it as a comment on the Hangout page, and I will do my best to reply back to that. But feel free to use any of those throughout, and I will try and monitor that and also check in at the very end. So I have been loving the Bright Bytes data. We took it last February here at Lewis Central, and we are looking at actually working on it right now to do a follow-up. And one of the things that I found is we believe as teachers and students that 77%, if you look at the data highlight at the bottom, teachers believe that learning is more engaging when using technology. And you can see kind of the breakdown there, 45% strongly agree, 32% agree. And with students, they said it was 64%, which I actually thought was surprisingly low, but not a big deal. So we believe that, but if we look at administering digital or online assessment, 47% never do it, and only 20% more do it every few months. So really only about a third of our teachers do it on somewhat of a regular basis, whether it's weekly or monthly, if you group those two together. So what we're going to talk about today and then are 3 ways that you can do formative assessments utilizing the technology that either we give the students or that students come to school with. And the 3 tools that we have, they're actually a couple different tools and a couple different features for each one. The first one that you see listed there is EdPuzzle, which is a video-based one, which is really cool. Socrative or Socrative, however you want to say it, I believe it's Socrative, is one that can be done from any device. It's very flexible as to when students take it, so we'll look at that. And then Kahoot is definitely the cutest of them all, the most colorful. So they all have their pros and cons. So Lynn posted a question here. I don't know what happens when I touch that. So are you expecting to see a change in the engagement data in the fall survey? I am. It'll be really interesting, and we've had a discussion at Titan Hill, and I know the tech team discussed this the other day. Do you, because it's early in the fall, would you expect there to be a drop-off because it's somewhat new? Possibly. I'm very hopeful now that we're almost a year into our one-to-one at 612 that there's a lot more good data there as far as related to students being engaged. So hopefully we'll definitely see here in the next couple weeks. But if we look at kind of the comparing and contrasting, one thing to know just going into this discussion, all of the options that you're going to get have a export feature. Not that they would import into PowerSchool, which is what we use here in our district, but you can export an Excel sheet that will do some really cool question analysis too, not just comparing students, but comparing, looking at the questions, and if certain ones are under whatever 60% or 70% or a large majority of students didn't get those right, it will highlight those for you as well. So all of those have that option. EdPuzzle has classes, which we'll talk about, that you can have your students enroll in. Socrative and Kahoot are a little bit different. You don't necessarily have a class, but you have a code that students use each time they go to take a quiz. And so we will talk a little bit about how those work as we go through. The first one we're going to touch on is EdPuzzle. EdPuzzle.com. One of the nice things is that you can use your Google account from Lewis Central to register, so you don't have to think of another account information. This one, kind of like Google Classroom, if you've used that, you can invite students. You can also just give them a code, so you don't have to worry about emailing all of them. You just post the code, they enroll in your class, and all that stuff is there for you. You can search for videos either within EdPuzzle, and we'll show you some of the options there. Or if you find the video first, you can copy and paste the link in if you already have it. Typically, these are student directed, and I believe the actual layout really lends itself to like a flipped learning type of thing where students are doing this outside of class. They answer the questions and you get that later. But you don't necessarily have to even keep a grade, so it could be something that you do at the beginning or you do at the front of the room where you're playing a video that you want the students to watch, and it's going to pause for you when you get to certain questions that you put in. So do a quick demo. If we switch over to EdPuzzle, so I have already logged in. You can see I already have a quiz there. So in the upper right hand corner, there's a blue create button. I am going to look for a new video. And you can see along the side there is YouTube, Khan Academy, Learn Zillion, National Geographic, all these other ones. I can search at the top, or like I said, if I already have my URL, I can just paste it in. I'm going to go down to National Geographic. And let's say that I want to know more about, let's do penguins. Penguins are cute. Oh, hey, here is a 20-minute video. I'm going to click on the play button. And I don't know that you'll be able to hear it, but I could play this video. So it's playing, I can hear it. Because I have multiple video things going on, it's not going to be the greatest quality, but I can look through that. That's not the one that I want. It's 20 minutes long. I don't necessarily need that. Oh, here's one on emperor penguins. So I'm going to click play. And I'm going to play the video. And let's say that I think this is a great one. I could save to my videos if I wanted to use it for a later date. Maybe I stumbled upon it and I'm not actually looking for emperor penguins right now. But let's say that this is the one that I want to use for my video. Click use this video. And it takes me to a window. And this is kind of a cool thing where you don't actually have to use the full, in this case, 2 minutes and 51 seconds. You can adjust. So let's say that maybe you don't even really want to start it until the first minute in. So we'll do 1 minute there. I'll move this back to the original. So notice in red, I don't know if you can't really see it all that well, but it's instead of 2 minutes and 51 seconds, it now says 1 minute and 51 seconds. And if that's what I want, I can click play and see where it starts. So it's starting right at that 1 minute. Okay, maybe I think that's perfect. So now I'm going to click at the top where it says audio track. And it saves for me automatically, which is great. I don't know that you can see it now, but instead of for the total video time, it now says 1 minute and 50 seconds. So it shows me that I have had that cut off, which is great. I'm not going to mess with the audio track. If I wanted to record over the whole video, I could do that. You'll notice that you have to record the audio of the whole video to be able to save it. So you can't just do necessarily like pieces here and there. You can do audio notes. Maybe you want to add a note at the very beginning explaining your directions. You could do that if you wanted to. And then here's your quizzes and your questions. So this little question mark icon, when I press play, it kind of moves along. And let's say that I want to ask a question right here. So I pause it, click on the question mark, and this new window pops up, and I get 3 types of things that I can put in. First thing I can do is an open-ended question. So if you were doing this at the front of the class, whole class activity, maybe you want that open-ended question to pop up so that then you can have a little discussion among the class. Easy to do. Type in, let's see, what types of penguins are these again? I have bold, italics, underlines, a few different things. I can add in an image if I want to. If I'm doing something for math, I can insert an equation. So let's say that I think that's great. I'm going to click done. And now I have that question here. You can kind of see in the upper right-hand corner, there is a text box that students would enter into. And then when they're actually watching it, they type in their answer, and then they click continue, and then that video starts playing. So I'm going to click continue, and there goes my video. So let's say that I want to ask a different question here. Click on the question mark again, and for the sake of time, I'll just show you these other 2. So you can add your test question here. This would be if you are going to have kids do it at night, especially, and you want to grade it. You have a check mark and an X. You can add more answers down at the bottom. Again, I can type in. I have some formatting choices. The last thing that I would just mention, and again, you could use this for if you're doing this at the front of the class, if you don't want to have to worry about typing in an answer, and you're just going to have class discussion, then you can just put in a comment. So here is my comment, and I'm going to click done. This time you notice it just has a comment. There isn't a place for students to type anything. Whereas with the text box, students had to type an answer to click continue, and then it kept going. So you can have as many of these as you want throughout that video. Once you are finished, click on the purple button, upper right-hand corner, to say done. And if you want to do the language and tags, you can. You don't have to. I'm just going to click save and exit. And here is, I already have my class made up. So I'm just going to click the button. I'm going to assign it to that class. So everyone who is in that class is going to get that assignment. They're going to see it. What's nice is you can prevent skipping if you want to. So the first time students watch it through, they can't fast forward. I believe the second time they can. Yeah, so it says, if you hover over the I, prevent your students from skipping content not yet watched. So they can go back and rewatch it and zoom through it. But if they haven't watched it before, then that doesn't work. And if you want to do due dates, you can do that too. It's completely up to you. So I'm going to click Save Assignments. So students then, excuse me, would go and into EdPuzzle. There is an iOS app. There is a Chrome app, and they would get this assignment. A couple other things you can do. You can embed the assignment. It's not that great. You can put it on a Google site if you want. I would recommend when you click Embed Assignment, there is an assignment URL that you can share out if you want to email it to students. The embed code is a little bit, it doesn't work all that great. It works okay on a Google site, but the link is probably better to immerse them in. Lynn asked, so you can control how long students have to answer questions. I don't believe so. You control how long the video is. You can say when it's not like individual questions. You can control how long that assignment is there, like the due date, but I don't believe you can control how long they can answer each specific questions. Hopefully that answers your question. So class code is up here on the left, upper right-hand side. That's what you would give your students. You click progress. You can see that I have not watched it. My student has not watched it. I have not got a grade on it. Export grades to CSV. So kind of some cool little features. All your students would be here with some feedback there. So that is EdPuzzle in a short amount of time. The next one that we're going to talk about is Socrative. Socrative is not nearly as cute and pretty as the other two are, but it is very cool. Socrative.com. And then you use, again, you can log in with your LC Google account, so you only have one account. There's no class setup. What happens is there's either an app, and again, there's a Chrome extension if you're using Chrome, iPad and Android also. Students, or on any device, students can go to m.socrative.com, and it's going to ask them to enter in a room number, which Socrative gives you. And that room number stays the same all year long. You can just put that up on your board or wherever you want to put it. And you can do student or teacher-directed quizzes. What's unique about Socrative is if you wanted to, you could say, I am going to turn this quiz on from 5 to 10 o'clock at night. You need to go in during that time and take a quiz. As a teacher, you don't have to do anything except for turn it on and turn it off. And then once you turn it off, you are able to download, again, a CSV file with all of the answers in it. You can randomize questions and or answers if you want. Completely up to you. Probably depends on if you're doing it in class or outside of class. And I mentioned the manual control of the quiz time. You can't necessarily say, I want it to only be open for 3 hours. Once that 3 hours is up, you have to go in and just click a button and turn it off. And I'll show you that right here. So I have logged in with my Socrative account. They did a whole bunch of updating over the summer. You can see at the top is my room numbers, 73674BD1. Obviously, I did not make that up. They do that on their own. So you have a couple things. Start a quiz are for quizzes that you already have. On the right-hand column, you have quick question and exit ticket. So if I click on those, I can decide what kind of question I want to ask. Maybe I want to do a true-false. Notice there is not a place to type a question in. So in this case, I would say to my students, true or false, I don't know. Ebola is an epidemic in Africa. Students would go to either the app or m.socrative.com, type in my room number, and then click true or false. They don't see the question. Maybe I have it posted on the board. If you think about like math problem of the day or something like that, this would be one way to do it. If you want to ask another one, you can do that. This would have to be the quick question, and the exit ticket would have to be in class activities because you can't post the question to students. Well, I suppose you could if you had it on your Google, like a Google form or something, but it wouldn't be all that great. So when I'm done, let's say I ask the students on their way out the door, so they all answer it as they're leaving. And then in the upper right-hand corner, I can click finish. And if I had any response, it would ask me if I want to download it. I don't have to do it at the time. I can do it later if I want. I can always go back in and check my results. Exit tickets the same way. You know, how is it going? How's the things going? Give me a 1, 2, or 3. Same type of thing, where you're not necessarily having a question posted to them. You're actually telling them. Here's what it looks like. If you have reports, how would you like your reports? You can have an email, downloaded, saved to Google Drive. I'm just going to view later because I don't really need it right now. So I'm going to view later and submit. Space Race is an activity that you would do with your class. It's kind of a competition between classes. They get points for accuracy and speed. So kind of a cool little race piece here. I'm going to go to Manage Quizzes. I'm going to click Create Quiz. At the top, I'm going to give it a name. LC Tech Hangout. This is really cool. We'll talk about this later. With Socrative, you can have this sharing number, SOC, whatever, 13, 31, 55, 41. And you can share that with others. So if I complete one for, let's say, 3rd grade, I can share that with all of the other 3rd grade teachers. And if I go back to the dashboard, I'll leave this page, Manage Quizzes, Import Quiz, upper right-hand corner. You would type that number in, and then you get that quiz to yourself, and you can make changes to it. So if you think about dividing and conquering the work, something to think about. Rename this now. And I have 3 choices for answers: multiple choice, true, false, short answer. I'm going to click on multiple choice. And I type in whatever I want up here. What is the weather like today? And then they start me out with 5 options. So we'll do sunny. I'm going to check that one because it is correct. Rainy. Snowy. I'm just going to do those 2, and then I'm going to delete the last 2 options. So you're only going to have 3 options. I can give an explanation. If you want to tell kids why a certain answer was right, you can do that. You can also add an image if you want to. This is great for like math. If you just do a screenshot of the problem, you could add the image in so that students can look at it. And if I'm done, then I just click on add a question underneath. And my next question is up. So it is October is my true false question. I'm going to click true because today is October 16th, I think. So I have true. So I have a 2-question quiz. Notice on the right-hand side of both of those, I have an up and down arrow, so I can rearrange those if I need to. There's an X if I need to delete it. So if I'm done, I click on Save and Exit, the upper right-hand corner. And I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And so let's think about, I have my quiz done. I've either imported it or created my own. I want students to do it. I have them, or I come in and I go to Start a Quiz. I want to do the LC Tech Hangout. Here's my 3 options. I have student-paced immediate feedback. Students have to go in order, which may or may not be something that you want to do. It's completely up to you. This is kind of cool. You're able to monitor progress regardless of which one you do. So whether you have it projected or not, you can just be watching to see where everyone's at. If a student hasn't moved off of a question for a while, you know they're not paying attention. Student pace, student navigation, students are able to kind of do whatever they want and move around. And I don't really know, this is a new one, edit questions. I don't really know what that means, that they can edit the questions. That'd be one. If someone wants to try that out, let me know how that goes. But they can skip them and come back. And then when they're done, they submit it. So those 2 are options that you would do where students are kind of on their own. They're doing it at their own pace. You could do that after school if you wanted to. Or else teacher-paced is when you go through and you're leading the discussion in your class with your students. Additional settings down at the bottom, you can take off student names. So if you want to put up your questions or that live results table, you can do that. You can randomize the question order if you're worried about them cheating off each other, or randomize the answer order, either one of those. Then you click Start. And here is your live results page. You would see all of your students listed here. Once they get in the room, the 2 questions, you can see if they get them right or not. So right now, students would go to m.socrative.com, type in that code, and then they would take that quiz. Once you're finished, click Finish. So if you leave it open for 5 hours, you could close this window, come back and click Finish, and again, do your reports however you want. So pretty easy to use. Real quick, Kahoot, getkahoot.com. Students actually, getkahoot.com is where you go to sign up and do your quizzes. Kahoot.it is where students go and enter in the code for that quiz. We said with Socrative, that code never changes for your classroom. With Kahoot, it changes each time you start a quiz, even if it's the same quiz. Really, the only option is teacher directed. You have to be there guiding them through. You can set some timers, but it's not something that you can set, walk away for 3 hours, and then come back. There is a public search for other quizzes. So we said that you could share the little code that you got with Socrative. This one, you can just make it public and just do a search. So in Kahoot, come to Kahoot, refresh my page. Here at the very top, it's probably hard to see, but it says new Kahoot, mine, and then public. So if I click on public, I can look at what they are featuring. There is a search bar at the top if I want to search for something that I really want. Let's say I want to do this one about the Jeffersonian age. If I click on it, I can see what the questions are, and I can see what the answers are, along with the ones that are correct. I can do a couple things. I can favorite it. I can also duplicate it if I want to copy for myself. There is a duplicate button when you hover over it. And so now I have a draft duplicate of the Jeffersonian age in my list, and I can edit it and publish it again if I want to. So I'm going to click on the purple new Kahoot button, click on quiz. We'll do LZ Tech Hangout. So I type in my question up at the top. Favorite question because it's easiest to answer. If I want to add an image, you can put it here. You don't have to. They also allow you to do video, and when you paste in your video, kind of like with EdPuzzle, you can tell it like when you want it to start and stop. Which is kind of cool. Down at the bottom, you have your answers. So let's say that this is snowy, rainy, sunny, cloudy. I'm going to click on sunny because that one's correct. The numbers there are for, you can only have 60 characters. So you can see mine are all about the same. There is a time limit here. So once you click on it, students have 30 seconds to answer it. You can change that if you want. What it will also do is once you answer, you can't change your answer. And if you have a class of 25 and all of them get done in 20 seconds, then it just stops and goes on to the next question. So I can save and continue. I actually cancel and go back. Oh, wait. See on page. I need to edit the questions. I did the wrong button. So down at the bottom, probably hard to see, there's an add question button. So now I'm on to question 2, same layout. I'm going to save and continue now. Doesn't like my question 2. What is today? And I'm just going to put 2 answers in, Monday or Thursday. And let's get rid of these other 2. So save it. Oops, I need a correct answer. There we go. Save and continue. I can reorder. It shows how much time they have, how many choices they have. And do some editing, but that's good. Save and continue. Difficulty level, this is a beginner. Privacy settings, wherever I want it. And some of these come when you sign up. It'll ask you what your normal primary audience is going to be. Save and continue. I don't want all of that stuff. I don't need an image there. So done. Now I would click play now. If you had your devices, you could go to kahoot.it. I'm going to click launch. It shows the game pin. So if you went to kahoot.it, you would type in 3430, type your name, and names will start popping up there. We don't have time to mess around with that too much, but that's as easy as it is. The answers, I don't know if you saw that with this one. When I click on show answers, you can kind of see on a device where students are answering, they just have a red triangle, a blue hexagon, a yellow oval, and a green square. And they just click on the icon or the shape that corresponds to the answer they want to pick. So it's pretty easy, pretty cool feature. All right, last couple things. Those are the 3 big tools. And really the ultimate goal is formative assessment that will guide future instruction. We talked about 3 different tools. They all have some of their own pros and cons. You don't have to do all of them. You can do one that you think your students will like the best. You can try all 3 of them out. It really does not matter. They all achieve the same goal of formative assessment, specifically using technology. Sharing is caring. If you do complete a quiz, share that link or code to your quiz with another teacher. That way they don't have to do the work. Have someone else take a look at it and just divide and conquer some of that. Blog about how it went. If you've met me for more than an hour, you know that I love sharing out what people are doing and learning from others. Use the LC Tech Hangout hashtag. That's available all the time, obviously, because it's a Twitter hashtag. And tell your principal or colleague, this is what we're doing. This is how it worked. This is what's good. This is what's bad. Things aren't perfect the first time, but those are definitely 3 ways that you can change formative assessment, get students engaged, get them online, assess online. The data is nice that students are online, but the most important part is that formative assessment. However you formative assess, this is a different way to do it. Again, still reaching that same goal of improving your instruction. So that is the end of this month's LC Tech Hangout. To see the recordings, bit.ly/Josh@LC. The next one is November 12th. We're going to talk about flipped learning, a couple tools to accomplish that. Lynn says that she is super excited by the Care Bear picture. I have to say I thought it worked out pretty well myself. So thanks so much for joining me. Email, Twitter, whatever's the best way to connect. And we will see you in November.